Hello, and welcome to The Normal Intuitive. My name is Nancy, and this is podcast number 11. If you are just joining me for the first time, I welcome you. I am a mom. I am a wife. I live in New England, and I'm pretty normal despite the fact of being an intuitive. And thanks for all of you that are joining me once again. This is kind of a rushed episode. I am literally sitting in the parking lot of a grocery store, and I have groceries in the back seat. But I felt the need to do this podcast and get something off my chest. So forgive me. I'm trying to think of a mom funny. I just got a text from my mother-in-law that my daughter just came home and lost a tooth at lunch, which I'm really grateful because I don't know about you, but I cannot stand loose teeth. And I hate like when your kids are like looking at you and you can see their teeth just like hanging. Oh, like it just creeps me out. I had bad experiences with teeth when I was young. But I'm so glad I don't have to touch that tooth or pull it out. I'm so glad because she has been complaining about this tooth forever, which is forever in a mom's eyes, really like probably a week now. And I'm so glad that that tooth is out of her mouth so that I can stop hearing about how her tooth hurts. Because if you don't want me to pull it out, which I personally do not, then I'm glad this tooth is out. But on to what I wanted to chat about today. So I just got done reading with a repeat client, and this woman is freaking amazing, but she doesn't believe in herself too much. And she's not the only one. A lot of my clients come to me and they have so little faith in themselves and their abilities. And they look at me and they go, what am I going to do? I can't do this. I can't do this. And I look at them, and from my perspective as a psychic medium, as someone that has access to the universe and to the knowledge, and I see what lays ahead for you or for these clients, and I see so much light and goodness, and it physically hurts me when I hear clients say that they don't believe in themselves. And don't feel bad if you don't believe in yourself and you come to me. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love helping you, but this is exactly why I'm doing this. Because when a client doesn't believe in themselves, when you don't believe in yourself, you dampen your own light. Look, life is hard, and we are all trying to get through. We all do stupid stuff. I talked about this on the last podcast. We all do stupid stuff, and we all have a hard life, but we got to keep going. We have to keep going. We can't just stop. And not believing in ourselves is like putting a nail in our feet. And okay, this sounds like a really painful analogy, and I apologize, but or it's like, all right, it's like being stuck in, with Velcro, and you're not able to move. That's what it's like. It's like you cannot move from your spot. You are stuck. You are not progressing forward. You can't go backwards. You are literally stuck. When you don't believe in yourself, that light that I so clearly see in you is dampened. So when you don't believe in yourself and you don't have faith in yourself, what do you think other people see? Do you think that they recognize your light? Maybe not. Probably not. And what's worse about this is when your light is dampened, that means that you can't help anyone else. I think I talked about on one of the podcast episodes, but I know I've talked about in my blog, one of the first or probably the second or third blog I ever wrote was about negative and positive energy and how far they travel. And negative energy travels super crazy far. And positive energy, it builds up, it takes a while to build up momentum, and it doesn't reach as far. So we need to make more of an effort. And this is proven on some physical level, and I'm sure I could find if I researched and Googled it. But there's evidence about energy and how far it travels. And positive, white light travels. And what does it do when it travels? It touches someone else, and it helps someone else, and you reach other people of like-minded people. I have this wonderful friend, and I'm not going to say her name. I think some of you know her. And she told me today, we chatted on the phone today, and she said, I don't know what it is, but I have all of these wonderful people around me right now. She said, I've never really had a lot of girlfriends. And she said, and right now, I have all of these wonderfully positive people around me. And it's because she has this bright white light, and she's honoring her light, and she's freaking moving forward and she believes in herself and she's exuding all of this positivity, and it's catching on like wildfire. And so other women and other men are seeing this energy and they're wanting to be a part of it. They're wanting to feel that positivity. And she is making all of these wonderful friends and these wonderful, she's attracting all these wonderful people to her business because of this light. But she hasn't always been like this, but right now she is completely and utterly honoring her light. And it is taken off because she has created her business in that way. She has created her business with the mind that she's going to create it how she feels fit to do it. And that light has spread. And it's amazing the people in her business. They're not all like-minded. We don't all think the same. But it's amazing just the kind of wonderful, positive energy that exudes all around her. And it's because she believes in herself. And it's because she's attracting people that are positive and meaning well as well. And of course she attracts like stupid people too. And forgive me by saying stupid people, but darker people too that are trying to ruin that energy. But it's not going to matter as much because the stronger you are in your sense of self, the less it's going to bother you when someone does kind of come after you. And, and maybe it's a friend or maybe it's someone that you work with, but the stronger that you have that confidence in you, you don't care so much. They say, it's like, when you get really bugged by someone doing something, and then the more confident you get, the less you care because you're not insecure about it. So, ladies and gentlemen, stop being insecure. And I know that sounds easier said than done, but please know that there are your spirit guides and there are your loved ones at home that are ready and willing to help you succeed. Pronoia, my friends. I'm going to say it again and again in every podcast because the universe wants to help you, but you have to be willing to help yourself. You start helping yourself by letting go of the control and believing in yourself and believing in the goodness that is a part of you. You might ask me, how do I know if I'm good? Well, you're listening to this podcast. You're open-minded. You're open-minded to psychic mediums and to God and the universe and energy. So far, you're doing it right. And you were led to this podcast for a reason. You were led to listen to this for a reason. Everything happens for a reason, my friends. And in these readings that I do, your friends and family from home are all gathered around and they're giving me this information. And in every reading I do, the main thing that if I could give you a message from home, it's that you are loved, you are cherished, and you are not alone ever, ever. When you are crying in bed at night, you are not alone. When you are alone in your car singing off key, you are not alone there either. And I could go on because I could say that you are probably alone when you're intimate with your partner or whoever you want to be intimate with, because entities don't really want to see that. So trust me. And when you're going to the bathroom, I don't think they're really going to pay attention to that either unless something serious is going on. So don't worry about that as far as never, like, what do you mean when I'm never alone? No, trust me. Like, they don't care about your sex life. They don't care about your bathroom habits unless something serious is going on, unless there's abuse or whatever. So don't go there. But know that there's help available and there's strength if you need it, but you have to ask for it and you have to ask for help. And this wonderful woman that I just had a reading with her light is so beautiful and she has such love, and I know that she has such a goodness in her, but she's afraid. And it's scary when you don't know yourself enough and you don't trust yourself enough to move forward. It's scary. I remember starting this business, by the way, which I haven't mentioned at all in my podcast, so obviously, I'm a horrible businesswoman. By the way, you can reach me at one-question.net on my Facebook group for facebook.com/one question at a time spelled out, or on Instagram at the number 1 question at a time. There you go. I got that out of the way. But when I started one-question.net, I was terrified. I thought that everyone was going to think I was crazy. I thought that they were going to laugh me off Facebook. I thought that I would no longer have friends in the community. I was terrified that I was not going to be able to help people the way I wanted to help with. I just thought everyone was going to laugh at me and call me crazy. And to be honest, I've been laughed at and been called crazy enough in my life, but that was my biggest fear because I was insecure. And while I knew that this was what I was led to do, I was still scared as all hell. But I realized that I had nothing to lose because I was so darn depressed and suicidal, to be honest, that I could go nowhere else except forward. And regardless on if I ended up a success or not, and if I ended up helping people, at least I would come clean of my abilities. And at least I would say, okay, world, this is me. Take it or leave it. This is me. And it was scary, and I had to jump. And to be honest, I didn't know where I was going to land. But I created this website, and I just said, okay, I'm going to do it. And that's it. And I did it by just pulling the Band-Aid off. I did it without overthinking it. Of course, I brainstormed the name at like 3 a.m. But, when I created the website, I really just did it. Because I find personally in my life, when I overthink something, I always screw it up. I really do. I tend to screw things up when I overthink it. But when I just go with the flow, when I let the river flow, as I've told some of you before, and when I let the universe be in charge, it's amazing the wonderful things that will happen. And they always happen the way that they're supposed to. Does that ever happen to you when you try and control something? It never goes as planned. Let's say you're planning a big party. It never goes the way your expectations will never allow it to go the way that you really want it to go. But it's amazing when you go into a situation where you have zero expectations, how wonderful it turns out, or it turns out exactly the way it's supposed to be. And honestly, with this business, with one-question.net, I had zero expectations other than I was probably going to be laughed at. But other than that, I had no idea. I have no business background. I've been a stay-at-home mom. I've had lots of different jobs, but I've always been a psychic medium. I've just always kept that hush-hush because God forbid someone finds out that I'm a psychic and I talk to dead people. God forbid. But looking back, if that's my worst crime, if that's the worst thing about me, well, shoot, I think I'm doing pretty good. We all have secrets about ourselves, friends. We all have those things that we are afraid to show the world. We are all insecure about something. I slouch. I've slouched since I was a teenager because this is probably TMI on a podcast that will reach, is worldwide, but I have big boobs and I'm not that tall and I slouch. And in high school, I was called Hunchback. And it was so embarrassing. And, it didn't make it easier when my mom would always just yell at me for slouching. And honestly, my posture it's improved, but it hasn't gotten, 100%. And I still slouch. And I still have to very much watch myself when I'm standing. But I'm horribly insecure about it. I remember being afraid that no man would want to. Well, no man, I'm interested in men, but no person would want to date me because I felt like I was a hunchback. And I called myself that and I believed it. And so it became true. But when I stopped thinking about myself as quote unquote hunchback and I said, screw it. This is who I am. I'm going to own it. I'm going to just be proud of myself. I don't care if I don't get a boyfriend, if I don't get a girlfriend, it's not the end of the world. And then things started happening and my posture still sucks. But you know what else I've realized is that a lot of other people's postures suck too. And I'm not the only one. And I'm probably not the only one that was called a hunchback in high school. And, and that's okay. This is me. And as long as I try and improve that, then that's all I can do. Am I insecure about it? Hell yes. Do I wish I had beautiful posture? Hell yes. But all I can do is try and be better and try. But I can't walk around thinking that no one, having this insecurity, because then that just brings me down. And when I'm down, then I can't help you guys. When you are so focused on the bad parts about yourself or why you can't do something, you won't do it. Yesterday's podcast, episode number 10, I think we're on episode 11 now, podcast number 11. But last podcast was on whether you think you are whether you think you are or you are, you're right. Like if I think I am a hunchback and I don't deserve any friends, then I'm not going to have any friends.